asa.ietsy.net. At this point, we're going to continue on, and as the live stream is designated to also testing some new gear from Rycote, I'm going to go ahead and introduce this gear now. I have received 2 of the not yet released Rycote microphones. I was first tipped off about this a few months ago, and let me show you what they have sent me. Rycote, and you open it up on the inside. It's a pretty neat little box, and I'm not going to show you the whole packaging and whatever else it comes in, but this is it. It comes, and it is a short shotgun microphone. This one here is known as the HC-15. This is hypercardioid HC, 15 centimeters, not inches, long from here to here. Now, I have measured from the tip of the grill to the end of the vents right there, and on this particular model, that is about 3.5 inches. So, there is also a second model, the HC-22, which is a 22 centimeter long interference tube. And this one here, let me just see if I can do it without scratching it all up. This one right here has an interference tube that is 6 inches long from the tip all the way to right here. So it's kind of cool when you look at it that way. Now, you might, when we first look at these microphones, the first thing that you're going to say is, wait a second now, what's going on with these vents? These vents are, I understand these make sense to you because the capsule is, my guess, probably right about where this little red, what would you call that? It's a feature, or red, accent feature type thing. It's probably somewhere in there because these vents right here would allow the sound to come in. The closer to a capsule it is, like over here, it's more narrow. If you need an explanation and you want an explanation of what it is to actually hear and see visually what a shotgun microphone actually does, watch my video review on the NTG8 microphone and the WS11 windshield. That is a Rode microphone that I started off because it's a long shotgun microphone. I wanted to explain what a shotgun microphone does and the difference between a short and a long. And I explain it and I visually show it on the screen as well. Now, if you notice the vents that are closest to the capsule back here, these would basically allow the microphone to hear the outside world a little bit right there. But then there's also vents that are lengthwise in line with the microphone there on top and on the bottom, which is a kind of interesting thing. And we have on the back, we have, the XLR connector. It's not a branded connector that I'm familiar with, but it looks to me, and I'll shine up there that way, hopefully you can see a kick on the light, but it looks to me like the casing of this microphone would actually go into the ground, because if you look at it, there is, let me see if I can shine a light in there. You can see that there is a copper ring around the outside, and it's tying itself to pin 1, which is, I'm looking at a mirror image on my screen, which is on this side right there. So that's a pretty cool thing right there. Many microphones have an internal tie, and some of them don't even do something like that. Some of them will like a Microtech Gefell and Neumann microphones. Some of them have a floating ground, so the casing itself could pick up interference, EMI, RFI type interference, which does not get taken care of on the connector itself, which is one reason why I'm a big advocate for using, as I'm sure you've heard me champion them many times, EMC connectors, which was one of my first reviews on this channel, is the Neutrik EMC connector. This is an EMC NCFX. It's based on an NCFXX, which is an FXX connector. And then it makes the EMC on the inside. Now, watch my review of this particular connector if you're not familiar with it, because I swear by these things. I use these constantly, and I've made cables for some people that you probably watch the videos of here on YouTube. A lot of people have my cables, and there's some people probably that, at least I know they were in the stream earlier, that had bought cables from me last year when I was making them during the COVID shutdown. So I'm connecting up this cable right now. Real quick, one of the things that's really cool about the EMC connector is that it ground ties the casing of a microphone directly to the pin 1 right here. Now, I recommend using the EMC connector and ground tying it only on the female end. That's just me personally. And the reason I suggest that is because if you do it on both ends, then it ground ties the chassis and any potential grounding issues you could have on your recorder, your interface, whatever it's connected up to. That right there could pass ground issues into your line. And so I don't advocate for that. But anything that would be picked up and it can drain straight through the pin 1 ground, I'm all for eliminating that. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this up right now, and let's get a first listen to this Rycote right now. Now, first of all, I'm not sure if I were to connect this up and bring this up over here. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this or not, but let's try it. All right, here is this microphone. Let's see if the level is coming through. Are you able to hear me at all? Give me a yay or a nay, something like that. Give me a thumbs up or anything if you can actually hear me in the chat. Because I don't know if it is going out or if it is not going out. Can you hear me right now on this microphone? Because I know that in the past, okay, good. All right, we have a lot of yays and yeses. All right, now I am not allowed, they're going to be releasing the specs in a couple of days. I am not allowed at this point in time to show you on screen the specs. But what I can do is I can share with you those specs verbally. So I'm going to do that. Basically, I was asked not to share them because all it would take is if I put a screenshot on the screen, those specs would most likely be clipped and somebody would end up saying, oh, well, these are the specs, for these microphones. Now, this is just the HC-15. You're probably hearing a little bit of cable noise from the cable rubbing against the side of my desk over here. Let me see if I can eliminate that. Let's just go ahead and play around with this a little bit because I now have the specs up in front of my screen, and I'm going to go back over here. Now, right now, it's straight down the barrel, right on my mouth here. These microphones are fairly flat. Oh no! Well, that just fell. Okay, well, so what? We'll pick it up later. Okay, so right now, this microphone it might be picking up a little bit off of the wall behind or the monitor here. Pretty big monitor. And yes, just to answer your question right here, I'm connecting it up to the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6. That's what I always use whenever I do any of my streams and stuff here. Are you sure you killed the other mic? Yes, I have killed the other mic. I brought it all the way down. And what you're probably hearing is a little bit of reflections off of this. Now, let me actually come in a little bit more. This is one of the reasons why, I might add, that I always use this microphone in this, because I've tried many different microphones. I own many different microphones, and I've tried multiples here. This one right here, because of its pattern and how it's able to pull out my voice, not being right in front of my face, which you guys know I hate, I'm able to actually reject off of my screen, and it's able to pull my voice out very effectively. And I really appreciate that. Now, one of the things also is that this microphone is compressed. It compresses my voice quite a bit. So that way I can back away from the microphone. I can come up close and you're still going to hear me relatively evenly for a live stream. Now let's bring this little bad boy out here and let's test out the HC-15. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to play with the side vents. I'm going to actually side address this thing just for a second, because what I'm curious about is when I see vents that come off of the sides, only on one side and the other, it makes me wonder, because many polar patterns don't pick up and they would not actually address something like these little, the little lengthwise vents right there. And I'm wondering if it's going to just allow a sound in there and it's going to reject out over there. I'm assuming it is because, obviously the sound would come down there, come down the barrel. I'm wondering if part of the design behind here is to reduce comb filtering. Because as you know, shotgun microphones, when they have a bunch of vents in there, the pattern on an actual, the polar pattern could have some little finger looking things sticking off where it gets jaggedy when you get to the side. That's going to make it sound, comb filtering. And so this right here may be an attempt at reducing that. I don't know. I'm going to have to test. But for right now, I'm going to go slightly off axis with it. And I'm going to see if I rotate it around and point these vents at the side. Do you hear any difference in the change in my voice? Do you hear anything different? My voice is right now approximately, maybe about 150 degrees off axis to the capsule. And I am on the side of, actually, let me do it this way so that way you can see it better. I'm right now looking at the side of the microphone here. You're not able to see the lengthwise vent. And now I'm about 150 degrees, and I'm going to slowly start changing this and addressing it more straight down through this side vent without changing anything else in the orientation. To me, it sounds like it brightens up ever so slightly. The sound definitely changes, but you know how it is. Whenever you talk into a microphone, it's very difficult for you to be a judge of the way it actually sounds until you go back and listen to it later. It's one of the big issues we run into on set. Some things that we say, oh, that's going to be a big issue for post. They get it in and post. It's like, oh, no, that was no big deal. But it's also interesting to note that sometimes post will say, that was a really big deal. And we're on set thinking, really? That didn't seem like a very big deal to me. So I'm going back and forth between the side with the vent on it, which is pointing directly towards my mouth right now, and the side that does not have a vent on it, the lengthwise vent. So do you hear any differences in the side? Because I think I do. I'm going to really need to dial it in there a little bit before I do my review of these microphones. But this right now, let me see what some of your comments are on this. I didn't hear anything when you handled the cable. Okay. Oh, it did sound off when you came at it from the side. Yes, yes. Okay, sounds different when you roll off axis. No, I don't hear any change in the vents. There's a little change as you roll, but not much on a laptop. I don't hear the difference. Yep, changes a bit. Might be YouTube compression. I slightly hear it changes as you roll. There is a slight change. I can tell you that I notice a slight change. Now, is it enough to... Here's the thing. What you point a shotgun microphone at is what's important for you to capture. Anything else, as long as it sounds natural in off axis, it's going to sound a lot better than when they try to digitally cancel out or try to just reject it all out and it suddenly sounds like, very awkward. So being that I don't think that you would necessarily need to orient it where the vents are facing exactly excuse me, vents are facing exactly towards you, and it has to be aligned a certain way in the zeppelin or in the shock mount, anything like that. If you come at it from the side, or if you come at it from the side this way, because right now you're picking up my voice. If it is side address right now, it's side. The vents are going to either side, rather, not side address. And then if I were to rotate it more towards my mouth, I don't think it's going to change much there. The vents are now pointed straight towards my mouth. And if I were to go from the side again, you're probably not hearing any difference because it's, again, a pretty quiet room and it's coming now straight at my voice. So that's a little bit of a difference right there. When it comes straight at your mouth, it's dialing a little bitty cone of reach and it's, rejecting out the sides. It's actually pulling out my voice more straight down the barrel. And this is more natural. Now, let me tell you, because again, I can't show them. I've been asked not to. The specs will officially be released as of this Friday, is what I'm told by Rycote. But in the meantime, it says the HC-15 is a hypercardioid shotgun microphone designed with a wide range of applications in cinema, television, ENG, live broadcast, sound design, studio, and field recording. It goes into modularity, polar pattern. Now, here's what it says. Okay, professional broadcast quality, individually fine-tuned back electric capsule. So if you're, I must have a true condenser, that's not what this is. It's a back electric capsule. Now, most people can't hear a difference. I will be honest with you. I can't hear the difference, probably because I don't know what a back electric capsule would sound like in comparison to the same exact microphone made with a true capsule as a true condenser, because there is no microphone that has both of those options. So perhaps one of the reasons why I can't hear the difference is because I've never A/B'd it, because it doesn't exist. But anyway, it says preamp, compact design, ultra low noise circuitry, and I'll get into the specs here in a second, sophisticated RF shielding, low power consumption. And I think that RF shielding is part of what we looked at with regards to the copper on the inside of the connector. Gold-plated Neutrik XLR connector. RF protection, active inline filtering, fine-tuned mechanical RF shielding, thoroughly tested against digital wireless systems and walkie-talkies, which is great. Materials, preamp made from non-corrosive machined brass, low impedance to assure best possible and longest lasting RF shielding. Capsule interference tube made from a lightweight machined aluminum, which is good. weight balance to help keep center of gravity further back to provide improved handling when using Rycote lyre shock mounts and slip-on wind protection. So let me read that one again. Weight balance to help center of gravity further back to provide improved handling when using Rycote lyre shock mounts with slip-on wind protection and slip-on wind protection. Now let's get into the actual specs itself. Now, looking at the polar pattern, I'll tell you that most of it, and I really wish I could show these to you. You'll see them very soon. Most of them are very smooth around the side. There is, as it is a shotgun microphone, there are a couple little jaggedy areas to it, especially in the higher frequency, 15,000 hertz, for example. But it's very smooth, I must say. The 2,000 hertz is very smooth. It almost looks the same as the 1,000 does. It's very, very cool. There's two little lines. Geez, it's almost unfair for me to mention this, to show you, or to just describe it. But it looks to me like, with regards to a short shotgun microphone, it's not going to be as smooth as it would be if it wasn't a shotgun. But it does have a couple of little jaggedy areas off to the side. But I think overall it is very front focused. So if I were to go completely off axis, I'm going to fall completely. I mean, right now it's off of the computer monitor, but you can hear it actually has quite a bit of rejection. It's picking up my voice off axis right now, and I'm going to keep the capsule in the same exact spot and rotate it around towards my voice, and my voice suddenly pops back in here. Let's talk about the specifications with regards to the actual frequency range, self noise, that kind of thing. Frequency range, 50 hertz to 20,000 hertz, and don't get thrown off by the fact it doesn't go down to 20 hertz. Many times you don't need to hear anything that low, okay? And you don't, because many people will roll off anything below 80 or below 60 or sometimes below 40, just depends. But also, if you were to look, and I'll tell you the way the frequency response is here in a second, the actual graph itself, the impulse response graph. Self noise, plus or minus 2 dB, is 9 dBA. That would make this the lowest self-noise shotgun microphone on the market. Well, there could be others. Like, I think the NTG8 had a lower, but then it's a long shotgun microphone. I think that may not be fair for me to say this is the lowest, but it is definitely very low. I'll put it that way. Polar pattern is hypercardioid, which usually is a little more directional than a supercardioid. A supercardioid would pick up a little bit wider of a pattern, because hypercardioid is a little bit more narrow. Now, here's capsule type. We already mentioned back electric condenser. Now, here's this. Output sensitivity, plus or minus 3 dB, is 45 millivolts per Pascal, or that equates to negative 26.9 dB. This is a hot microphone. This is not going to be the same sensitivity as your MKH-416s, as your MKH-50s, as your Shep CMC-641s, as your DPA-4017Bs. It's going to be more sensitive. Maximum output voltage, 5. Okay, well, all right. Let me move on. Output impedance is 100 ohms. Minimum recommended load is 1K. Signal to noise ratio is 85 dB typical, which, if you watch my video on how to calculate missing microphone specifications, you know that self noise plus signal to noise ratio equals 94, and that adds up. Now, what Rycote told me is that they are dialing in. This is the initial. This is not finalized yet. They're still checking and fine tuning, and they said that the range of self noise was between about 6 and 9. They put 9 on this spec sheet they sent me just because they cannot claim it's lower than that at this time. They're trying to dial it in there, but they're working on that. Okay, let's see. Maximum cable length, 100 meters. Powering, 48 volts phantom power. Valid range, 24 volts or 48 volts. Current consumption, 3 milliamps. So it's not one of your most hungry. It's not like your Shep CMIT 5U, for example, I think is 4.4 milliamps. Maximum SPL is 133 dB SPL. Now, that is a little bit higher than your 416s and those kind of things, but it's not nearly as high as some. Mainly large diaphragm microphones are the ones that are really going to get down lower, really go higher than that. But there are some microphones that, especially dynamics, that will go much higher. RFI shield, yes. Connectors, the XLR 3M. And the weight is only 90 grams. Color is matte black with red accent. Okay. Now, the frequency response, I want you to stay with me for a second. Again, I can't show it on the screen, but what I can tell you is the frequency response chart, the impulse response graph, is not smoothed. They told me specifically it is not smooth at all, which normally means that you would have little jagged bits all the way through it. Usually you're going to see more of those in the highs than you will in the lows. In the lows, it's going to be relatively smooth. And then as you go higher up, it's going to start to get a little more drastic, maybe have little spikes in it. Now, the frequency response of this microphone, if you can imagine that 0 dB line, it looks like it is right about 125 hertz, where it goes completely flat. At 125 hertz, it goes slightly up and slightly down, just above the line, maybe 1 or 2 not 2. It might be a percentage of 1. It might be up to as high as 1, but it is almost completely smooth up until it gets to about, what is that? About maybe 1.75K. And then at that point, it slowly starts to go up to a shelf. It slowly curves up and it peaks right around 4K at probably about 3 dB. And it levels out there until about 6K, when it slowly goes back down and it levels off, and it slowly goes back down till about 16K, when it would hit that 0 dB line. And then it slowly goes down lower than that, probably dropping by about maybe 2 dB by the time it gets to 20K. So it is relatively flat and only goes as high as 3 dB over on the top end. Now, on the lower part of the scale, it is at about the 150 hertz line is probably right where it really starts to, where the lows and the highs, because the actual graph starts on the low end and it rolls. It looks like it doesn't pick up nearly as well on the lower frequencies, but it still picks up down easily to, it looks like about 45 hertz is when it gets about -5 dB in sensitivity, and it slowly starts curving up, and about 150 hertz is the point when it crosses, and anything after that starts to slightly go above. If this is descriptive at all, it is almost, if you were to look at right here, it starts a little bit below the center line, and then it goes like this, and then goes like that. It's very smooth. On the lower end, between about 150 hertz and about 40 hertz, it seems to drop by about 5 dB very slowly. This is the way. Now, I've tried to describe it. Hopefully you can follow that. If not, here's what you need to know. Here's the Cliff Notes version. It's flat, call it flat, from 150 hertz up to about 1250 hertz. Then on the low end, it drops by about 5 dB down to about 45 dB. And then it drops about another 2 by the time you get down to 20 hertz. So even though it says it's 50 hertz, from 50 hertz, it's at the 50 hertz point, it's probably dropped down 4 dB below the line. Now on the top end, it slowly goes up to a 3 dB boost, kind of a smooth hill up and down, starting at about 1250. And it ends at about 20K on this graph. So it slowly curves up and then slowly back down, but it is very flat. Now, that is just this one Rycote mic. The HC-22, which we haven't heard yet, has the exact same specs. The difference is the interference tube is longer. I'm looking at it right now. All of the specs are the exact same, and that was confirmed by Rycote, that the specs are the exact same thing. It is just a longer interference tube. The difference is this part right here is 3.5 inches, and on the other version, it is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and change this out to the HC-22, and we'll hear how this thing does, because this is actually got a considerable amount of rejection for being as small as it is. So again, this is on my voice right here. I'm seeing that it is peaking probably on the low side, actually. Geez, it's peaking only about negative 18 dB. Let me actually bring this up a little bit more, so that way we can hopefully get a little bit more gain. And let me see how this is. This is peaking a little bit at a better level. So if you're having to adjust your levels right now, to me, I do apologize. We're peaking probably right now around negative 15 dB. And we're pretty much on axis. Now I'm going to keep the capsule exactly here, and I'm going to rotate it around off axis here. Now it's pointed directly at my monitor, and now it's pointed around where I'm off axis. So I think I'm pretty much pointing it, right under my finger, but I'm off axis, and it sounds, how does it sound to you? It sounds to me like it's not just attenuating. It's definitely got a little bit of, like right now, it doesn't sound like I'm just attenuated. I'm going to have to listen more. DPA microphones, for example, if you go off axis with them, it sounds more like it attenuates. It does do a little bit more with the frequencies and coloration, but the polar pattern is more straight. It's more, front focused. So it's going to have a lot more rejection on the 22 model. And then the frequency response, it looks like it's on the chart, it looks like it's the exact same curve. So it might go a little bit like, no, looks about the same. Let me go ahead and change out from the HC-15 to the HC-22, and let's see how that sounds. Now, you're probably cringing at the fact that I changed it while Phantom Power was going through it. Here's the thing. Good microphones aren't going to have a problem with that. You can buy some cheap microphones. They're going to mess up if you drop Phantom Power to it, if you turn off Phantom Power. If I were to kill Phantom Power to this microphone right now, it would obviously lose power. Actually, let's see what that does real quick if I kill the Phantom Power. Let's just see how long. Well, it lost instantly, didn't it? Some microphones will slowly die and start squealing and stuff like that, but that was a pretty quick fall off. So let's look at this microphone and hear how it sounds. This doesn't seem like the pattern is going to be nearly as forgiving. So if it looks to me like on the chart, if I go more than about 10 degrees off axis, it's probably going to fall off pretty quickly. Sounds almost to me like this is a little bit thinner sounding than the other microphone, which makes more sense because it's dialing more in on just my mouth. It's not going to pick up as much resonance from my chest. It's not going to pick up any more of my face. A wider pattern will pick up more frequencies. And this is one of the objections I have to using shotgun microphones in close proximity to your mouth, because it just dials in on the mouth. There's so much more to where sound comes from your chest, from your head, and everything like that. But, again, that's something that's just my opinion. Okay, I'm going to go slightly off axis with it. And at this point, it should start to fall off in the pattern. Definitely, it's about 45 degrees off axis. It definitely sounds like it's far away. It definitely also sounds to me like it is like the vents right now are rotating straight towards my mouth. And now the vents are rotating directly off axis to my mouth, more up and down. And I don't really hear as much of a difference. Actually, I do hear a difference. Yeah, there is definitely a difference. A little bit more highs right here when the vents are pointed towards my mouth. So that makes sense, because right now, when the vents are not pointed at my mouth, the long vent right there, my voice is having to hit the end of the capsule here and then go through there, or hit the little vents on this side and then go through into the capsule. But if it is coming in from the side this way, then my voice may enter the side of the interference tube and then bounce its way down there. So this is very much off axis now. I'm going to come over here so that way I can point it away from me, and you're going to hear how it sounds when I'm off axis. And then I'm going to rotate this around, trying to keep the capsule exactly where it was again, and pour it more down the barrel. So it sounds to me, I'm going to go back to your comments, because I've been away from this for quite a while here, and I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and look at your comments, and we'll see where we're coming with. Okay. let's okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's just start it here. It did sound off when you came at it from the side. Yeah, I agree with that. And then yes, and then it sounds different when you roll off. I don't hear any changes with the vents. There's a little change as you roll, but not much on a laptop. I don't hear the difference. Yeah, it changes a bit. Might be YouTube compression. There's a slight change as you roll off. Actually, as you roll it vertically, it loses some high end. And when the vents point towards you, it loses high end when the vents point towards me. Interesting. Okay. Captain Jack says, oh, now I'm hearing the change. Higher pitch when the vents are to the side. Okay. Hi, local 311. Thank you very much for joining Firefly Farm. The beginning of this video was amazing. Oh, Mike was amazing and how he explained everything out. Definitely want to go back and watch this video later. I agree with you, Dan. What levels are you teaching on the meters and how much gain are you applying? Okay. Must be a bit low since it's really close, but please share. Yeah, you're right. Right now, let me see. The microphone right now is probably about a foot away from my mouth. I can wave my hand around. And actually, it looks like it's peaking low again. Let me drop this down and let me apply more gain. How much gain am I adding? Let's bring up the level a bit. And okay, so, oh, that's too hot. Let me back this back down. Now, this is what's interesting to me is I'm going to apply 40 dB of gain, which should technically be a very hot signal. And it is peaking maybe about negative 14 dB is where it's peaking right now, which is kind of interesting. It just, when I said interesting, it peaked up at negative 12 dB, which for YouTube would be kind of, would be much. But I guess when you gain it properly, it's finally going to get its level, because you know how it is. If you give it too little, then the detail doesn't really pop. So I probably didn't represent very well in this at the beginning of this video with the Rycote microphone being under level like that. But right now it is gained correctly straight towards my mouth. So I'm going to go over to the side again and keep the capsule right where it is, right there. And I'm going to start rotating it around off axis. And we're about 45 degrees off axis right now, coming back around to about a 90 degrees off axis. I'm going to rotate it now over where the vents are facing directly towards my mouth, and now they're faced directly up and down. And I'm coming in straight sideways on this capsule now. And I'm going to continue to rotate around. This is about 135 degrees off axis. And then this is around the very back part. Oh man, this thing is so bassy right there. That's crazy. But then that makes sense, doesn't it? Because lower frequencies are going to make it they're more omnidirectional, as we've talked about many times. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how it sounds in the detail. Obviously, when we get to the testing of the microphone itself, I'm going to go higher and higher and higher and do all those tests that we normally do, putting these two together up against definitely themselves. But I might throw something else in there too. Now, what's the price point of these microphones? Let me switch back over to this microphone here, and I'm going to get rid of the sound on this one for a second. So let me do just that. All right, I'm now back on this microphone up here. Now, price points. Let's talk about that. The price points, this one here, the HC-22, is $799. And the HC-15 is $779. Those are the prices as of now, MSRP, or maybe the release price. I'm not 100% sure. I need to look at the email again. But that, to me, prices it higher than, your Asdens and stuff like that, but not nearly as high as like your Sennheiser MKH416. It would definitely price it higher than a Rode NTG5 and right about in line with an NTG3. So if you're looking at a price point about the same thing, the question would therefore be, if you want a more flat sounding microphone, then this might be a good choice for you if you cannot afford a DPA 4017B. That is just me going off of initial sound. Now, Here's an interesting thing also. Rycote is a company that specializes in wind protection, isn't it? You can go onto their website, you can do a search for any and all things wind protection, and you're going to find everything from softies and super softies to cyclones, super shields, everything. However, this is all you get. So, what I have done, and I have been in the process of doing some research, and I've gone back and forth with my contact at Rycote, and I ended up having to involve one of my friends that works at True Audio, named John Hicks, amazing guy. John was extremely helpful and helped me research with Reading Audio, helped me find the actual windscreens that are recommended for these microphones. And I will tell you what those are right now, and they'll also be in my video later. Okay. If you want to type these windscreens in there, they are, what are they called? They're the HSG. Is that what the model number is? They're the foam windscreens made by Rycote. You would expect Rycote to actually use their own, at least have microphones that fit the foam windscreens that they actually sell. Now, the Rycote windscreens are a little more expensive, but like if you try to buy a replacement for the Sennheiser MK416 windscreen at Sweetwater, they're $50. So you're going to spend a little bit more for something that's not going to deteriorate. It's going to be more transparent. It's going to last longer. So that's the philosophy behind the Rycote foam windscreens. I don't know the price of them just yet, but the Rycote 104408, that's the number, and 104401, those are the two foam windscreens of choice for the new microphones. And I'll go into that in more depth in my review. And as of right now, I have placed an order for those. And when they come in, I will begin my testing on these microphones. Right now, you just had an initial first look at those microphones and heard them. But I can't get into anything more in depth, and I'm not going to even start the review. First of all, I have been trying so hard to get written. You know how in depth I am with my boom pole reviews. I tell you, K-Tech is amazing. They sent me a boom back in, I think it was March. I tested it for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Took so many notes, and I'm trying to consolidate them all. The script for that review is very in depth, and I probably got about 75% of the way through it. And what I need to do is just finish it and get the thing shot. But I don't want to poorly present that because I take my boom poles very seriously. And so they've been very patient with me, and I can't thank them enough. It's been almost 6 months. It's not going to be as bad as like the ambient dipstick review. I had that thing in my possession for 2.5 years before I could finally review the thing because I kept finding additional uses for it. And finally I said, I have to just call it here and do the review. But K-Tech, I have the boom right here. I need to review it. Believe me, there's been many nights I've been here saying, okay, let me get back into my notes here. And then I pulled it out and start swinging it around just to remind myself of how it feels and everything. And I need to get that review done. That is my top priority of any video right now that is scripted or any kind of content creation wise. Many of the other videos are quicker to produce. And by that, I mean like the reaction video I did recently, and then the reaction part 2 will be upcoming Monday. That is to try to help me get something that's done, that's informative, that's still educational, that's still helpful. And then I can turn around and spend my time more on trying to get this review done because I really want to get it done. I think it's going to do a lot of good and help answer a lot of questions for people. So, all right, so heck, if this thing is going to be the price competitor with the 416, then it may make a good mic for live sports. That's quite a possibility. What dB value outputs are you streaming at right now? Let me see. I am in my outputs. What is that level? Okay, the output level of the stream is, I guess it's peaking right now at about -14. Now, YouTube, I think, will knock it down to -14. Maybe it's -16. One of the two. And so it's not going to be pushed down by YouTube in the live setting right now. But that at least gives you an idea. Man, the cat is spiking my meters over here. That thing is so sensitive. I'm going to just kill it. 1 second. There. Because I'm tired of watching that meter bounce around down there. That microphone it's gained up a lot or something. I don't know what's up with that. That thing was so high. Do they have a price yet? I already answered that. Todd Weaver. Okay. My car got hit in a flood Monday and it's totaled. Fun times. Vote yes. Oh, crap. I just got through working with Weaver on a movie. And I filled in for his second boom op for about a week and a couple of days. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. Man. Okay, so Ono Coffee says that rounded out your voice. Awesome. Again, I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. I'll have to do some tests and then listen to how I sound on those tests. And then I'm going to have to make an opinion. And then I'll write the review. Okay, so I had to step away for a minute, which are the Rycote mics and is the price range. Okay, so again, I'll go ahead and say it real quick. The HC-15, 15 centimeter long version, its price point is $779. And the HC-22 is price point at $799. So basically $800 or $800 minus 20. And that box is right there. I can pick it up, but sounds like a crappy speaker inside a box. Okay. I wouldn't actually judge too much based on what you're hearing here at this desk. My room is completely open on the side. There's a reason why this thing folds around and encloses me when I record. And then this screen is so huge in front of me. It's not really fair to fully judge everything based on what this is. You're going to hear the actual testing later. But right now I'm only this far away from my monitor. I mean, like maybe a little bit, like this hand here, if my pinky touches the monitor, now my pinky is touching my thumb like this. And then it's this far away from my face. So that much. So maybe, what is that? 2 feet, maybe? And it's a big screen. So, okay. These are the Rycote NC-15 and 22. He's on the 15 and there's no price yet. Okay. Yep. And then line level media, he's spot on. Where is this thing? The chat just jumped. Okay. Doesn't seem to be too bad. Yeah, but talked to Rycote rep a few months ago about them, and they said that took apart some 416s and couldn't figure out why they were charging $1,000 for them. Well, Sennheiser, first of all right, I've made this argument in the past, and I've talked about this in the past, so I'll go ahead and mention it again. A lot of factors go into price points. If I were to, for example, take some good quality product, good quality microphone components, and I manufacture those in a place where the American dollar is worth more. Someplace like, for example, Australia. And I were to price a microphone and release it by a company, let's say, called Rode. In Australian dollars, the price in US dollars, even by the time you get it to America, is going to not be brutal. It's going to be pretty reasonable, because I believe the Australian dollar actually, Alexa, what is $1 United States dollars? Never mind. According to Wikipedia. Alexa, cancel this. Jeez. Alexa, what is $1 United States dollar in Australian dollars? So $1 in the United States is about $1.38 in Australia as of right now. So you can see that we basically have, an advantage there, that one of our dollars. So $300 would basically be like 400, roughly Australian dollars. So they can make them cheaper. Now, if you were to buy the cheapest possible components you could in China, and then you went to your warehouse in Antarctica and you manufactured them there, that would be a very costly microphone. You'd have to sell them at Neumann prices to turn a profit, and the quality would suck. So sometimes it's product availability, component availability. Sometimes it's the cost of living. Now, Rycote is a UK company. The pound is definitely worth a lot more than the dollar, and the Australian dollar especially. So there are other factors at play. And Sennheiser, of course, is a German company using the euro. So, but it could just be a combination of the components, that the 416 uses more premium components that are more difficult to source or more expensive. That could be part of it. I don't know. Don't know the exact details. But that is just something to consider. Is it sometimes it's component availability, sometimes it's how much it costs to actually package and produce and send out. It could be that Sennheiser pays their technicians, or has different machinery and to put it together, and it has different operation costs. It just, I don't know the difference. I don't know what it would be, but there's got to be a reason why. Okay, so let's look at the next one here. So far, these sounds quite nice. Might be alternative 416. It's about 100 at about 150 degrees. It sounds like the 22 has a bump in sensitivity response. So far, pretty good. I came in a little late. My NT1 starts up fairly quickly and takes a moment to die after a power cut. Aston Spirit takes a few seconds to boot up and then dies immediately after the power cut. So you say that says something. Different microphones are different based on the capacitors on the inside capacitance. So, I mean, if you have a microphone that holds a little bit more of a charge, it might, like these microphones, it requires 24 to 48 volts. So you could say that if my Mix Pre 6 instantly killed the phantom power, it may slowly start dropping power to it on some interfaces. So I don't know. It's not really, you want to give them 48 volts phantom power to properly, do everything. On a coffee, great. Got to run and get up early in the morning. Thanks, Alan, for a great stream. We'll catch the rest on replay. Good night, all. Not bad at that game level. All right, when you're thinking of doing a full review, all right, to answer that question, it's going to, first of all, I need to get the windscreens. Second of all, top priority is to get that K-Tech review done. I do have some lavs from Shure that I need to also review and test. Now, these technically came in before the Rycote, so I'll probably test them and start using them together. And I'll be using this probably on me during the presentation videos, the location stuff that I do when I go out and test the Rycotes higher and higher and higher. And so I don't know when I would get to them. I'm hoping to actually I really want to get the Rycote, not the Rycote. I really want to get the K-Tech review done before Thanksgiving. I know that's like almost 2 months. A little under 2 months. I really want to get it done, but I don't want to shortchange it, because I don't think I'd be doing a service to K-Tech. I don't think I'd be doing a service to my boom operator followers. I take my boom pole reviews very seriously. I mean, I take all my reviews seriously, but still, the boom pole ones, I feel like I bring something that no one else on YouTube and no one else online can to boom poles, and I want to make sure that I bring that when I do it. Not just some stuff that other people could talk about in the forums, but stuff that I will bring to the forefront, and make sure that I make that worth your while. So any first impressions on what mics you compare it to? I'm definitely thinking about comparing it to, well, I mean, I tell you, I was thinking about comparing it to the 4017B, thinking about it, because it is also a flat microphone, but then it's quite twice the price. So I was also thinking about comparing it to the NTG3 or maybe the 416. The difference is both of those microphones are made by companies that give an extended low frequency range to it. So I personally think, if I, all things considered, even though the price point's different, I'm thinking of comparing this microphone, the HC-15 to the NTG5, mainly for the size comparison, and then maybe comparing it to maybe for the price comparison, I might also put it up against a NTG3. Maybe. I have to think about it. Because NTG3, a lot of people are going to say, you know, they'll like the extended bass off the NTG3. Because that's a trick that microphones do. Because it boosts the lower end frequencies, it ends up picking up more naturally to your ear at a farther distance because the low frequencies dissipate over distance, and it will sound more like a normal voice at a farther distance. And so even though it may lack in the mids and highs, you're still hearing the fundamental vocal frequencies. You're like, wow, that sounds great. Thinking about, I don't know. For the longer microphone, I'm thinking about the HC-22, comparing it to maybe the 416. And then price point wise, maybe because it's flat, might put it up against the 4017B. You see, that's not really fair though, because the 4017B is twice the price. And then some. It's $1,000 more expensive than this. 416. I just really got to think about it. I might also consult with Curtis Judd about that and find out what his thoughts are on what would be a good comparison, because I don't think it would be fair to compare it to something like a $2,300, how much? $2,400 CMIT 5U. I don't think it would be a good match. That's a Sheps. I don't think it would be a match for a Sanken. You know, comparing it to like a Sanken. A CSM1 might be a match for the 15, but then that microphone doesn't really have much low end, to my ears at least. I mean, it's got a lot of highs. It basically is. I don't know. I have to think about it. Size wise, it would be a good match for the HC-15 would be a good match for the CSM1. I don't know. I would have to call in a lot of favors from a lot of different people in order to get something done with a lot of comparisons like that. I'll have to think about it though. See what I can get available. I might see what I can do. Hit up my friends over at Gotham Sound and True Audio and see if any of them can accommodate me, or if not comp it for a weekend. If they have them in stock, maybe give me a deal on a rental on them all for a weekend. What are those prices? Okay. So the prices are basically $800. And then the shorter one's $20 less. 700 and something and below 800. Yeah, pretty much. They're looking at, there you go. Okay. Good job. Thank you both. All right. Yep. Line me, better pay attention. Me. Okay. Whoa, geez, chat flies fast. Just had a peek on the Instagram where the price was, where is listed price. It was hard to find otherwise. Yeah. There's not been a whole lot about it. I've had them in my possession now for 3 days. Today's Wednesday. 2 days. They arrived on Monday. And my first priority has been trying to find a good windscreen for it that would be, I don't want to just buy some cheap crap on Amazon. And Rycote does say you can use whatever windscreen you want with it. The problem that you run into is just like any shotgun microphone. If it comes with a windscreen, it's going to be ideal for it, or at least it's going to be one that you would want to use as a starting point. But here's the thing. If you were to put this in if you were to put this shotgun microphone in a windscreen that has a different length interference tube, it could end up only coming through right there. Wind protection might cover there and then stop right here, in which case it's not protecting against those vents at all. And it could also go all the way up to here, which means there's nothing to hold on to in a shock mount. So there's a lot. So it's ideal for you to get one that would probably end at that red line, maybe a little bit before that. And I think the what do they call the HSG I did not even know that Rycote made, I know, I'm terrible. I was not aware that Rycote sold standalone windscreens until earlier today. I know about a lot of their stuff. I know about the Bumblebee stuff. I know about a lot of different wind protections, Sonellas, but I did not know about the foam windscreens that they sold. I know about their softies, their super softies. I know about all of those. But I'm wondering, and I do know now the correct model that goes with this. And I'm going to be presenting that in my video as well. But that took a little bit of time because Rycote was, oh, you can use whatever you like. But you can't. You can't use something, for example, if it got a thicker diameter. This is 18.9 millimeters in diameter, just shy of 19. So a 19 millimeter windscreen may be a little on the loose side, even though I imagine it'd probably fit just fine in that. It's probably not going to slide off when you go vertical with it. But if you were to put something like a windscreen from, for example, a Sennheiser MKH-60, it would slide right off because that has a 25 millimeter diameter. So there you go. Some microphones also have a 22 millimeter diameter. Okay, have a good night, everyone. I have a shoot tomorrow morning. I was excited for my first major commercial for CarMax. Wish you luck. You're already gone, but I wish you luck, Alejandro. I am with you there in spirit 15 minutes ago. All right, so have fun. Have a good night, Alan. I look forward to your review. I meant that you had it off axis. Okay. Test those mics outside, sir. Once you reset your gain levels, yep. Mics seem to have less EQ issues as it was off axis. Yeah. So, if Todd, here's the thing. Todd's a production sound mixer. He's got a good ear. He will tell you he's a rocker. He's been part of bands for years and stuff like that. But when he listens to something, I can definitely trust what he says when it comes down to setting gain levels correctly and that kind of stuff. That's absolutely true. So might have less EQ issues with it when it's off axis. Good. I have to test that. Okay. Let's see here. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all. I imagine you'll do a self-noise test. I will do my best, Todd. Here's the thing. I don't have the ability to use REW and test it in an anechoic chamber. I don't have that kind of ability. I don't even have one of those big, huge cylinder things. The closest I can ever do, and I think I did this in... What is that video? Is that the one where I tested the Cloud Lifter, the Fed Head, and the SE Electronics Dynamite DM1? I think I rolled up a microphone inside of that. I turned them all up, and then I rolled it up inside of a Fernie pad. Then I rolled it and knotted it, and just made this big, huge thing with it all the way in the middle. So it was cutting out a lot of stuff. But even then, I mean, I'm not going to get the best results out of it. It was quiet in this room. It was like dead quiet in the house, like it is right now. Actually, wait a minute. Oh, those are the computer fans right now below me. My noise gate is rolling those off right now, so you can't hear it. But I could try to do the very best I possibly could. Usually what I just do for the self-noise test is I just hold it up and then I gain it up like 40 dB or something like that in post. That way you can hear what it sounds like at the very, very, low end. I could compare it to something else, but who knows? When customers are willing to buy a product at company asking price, why would they sell it for less? You're right. Are those Duraplex and Twinplex? Are those Duraplex and Twinplex? I don't know what that means. I've not heard that phrase, or heard Duraplex and Twinplex. You might be trolling as far as I know. I don't know. Have a good night on coffee. Okay. Brew a K-Cup while listening to K-pop near at Kmart and reviewing the K-Tech. Oh, the Shure mic she held up. Oh. Let me see. This is the Twinplex. You would think I know the model number of the things that are sitting in front of me. Okay. And then, what is this one? This is the Twinplex. So, wait a minute. I thought these were different. I could have sworn these two were different. Wait a minute. Twin Plex. Was this the Duraplex? That's a Twin Plex also. Wait a minute. I could have sworn these were different. Okay. Yep. Okay, we know what that one looks like. Look at it against my white shirt. There's the shape of it. Now we'll look at the other one. I'll need to figure out exactly what these are. I'm terrible at the model numbers on some things. It takes associating it with something for me to get it quite often. Because you know, I've used the short axient system. I don't know what it's like, an ACX or a something. I don't know. All right, here is the other one. Oh yeah, definitely a different shape. So it might be this one's more square on the top. Now one of these I know this one looks like a DPA on the tip, but I know it's not. Oh, it feels so smooth. It feels great. So on the very, very tip, it looks like the end of a DPA, but it's wider and it doesn't have the strain relief that you see on the other end of the microdot right there. So I can't wait to test these. It's going to be awesome. Wind protection. A couple of clips. So I'm looking forward to testing these. I've honestly, I was out of town working on that feature with Todd, and you know, the video I released 2 weeks ago, the one that was me talking his 3BO series, talking about kit rentals and the catches that will sometimes catch you with regards to the contracts. That actually came. I had two people the same day. I was talking to Joey, the primary boom operator I was working with out there, and then I got a call from another. The same day, I got a call from another boom operator named TJ who was asking me some questions. I'm like, you know what? I've explained the same thing twice in the same day. Let me do a video about it. And I think it was overdue. And so hopefully that information was good to anybody trying to negotiate their rates and filling out their paperwork. Okay. So I think Dan's talking about the Sure Lav's Twin Plex. Sure, I'll troll, but I wasn't. Could be a different sensitivity level in Twin Plex. Bit off topic. What are your thoughts about a new A20 Mini? Any chance for a review in the future? I'm going to say no. And here's why. I originally, when it was announced, I did reach out and I spoke to someone, I will not name him, over at Sound Devices about getting one. Now, they are a pay-to-play company. So you buy them and then you can, you know, do whatever you want to with them. But then he did tell me that give it about 3 weeks and then contact him back and he would introduce me to at least the people and they would see about doing it. In that 3 weeks, I started hearing some people talking about them, decided to kind of investigate them myself and to look into them. I like the design of them. I do not like the battery life. One thing I do really, really not like is the fact that it's menu driven. In order to make any changes of settings, you have to go through your app. You have to bring the thing up, connect up to it via Bluetooth. You have to do all the different things here, then change your settings, low power to high power. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to change this. I don't want to have to do it in an app. You could call me old school. You can call me whatever name you want to. Personally, I don't like that. So based on those two things right there, the fact that I do not like menu-driven things and Bluetooth, especially after you saw my review of the DD BPTRX system, I'm not a fan of Bluetooth devices on set because everybody in the world's packing things in there with Bluetooth. Everybody is using Bluetooth on set. Everyone's using things in the 2.4 gigahertz wireless range. Microwave ovens interfere with it. Your Bluetooth on your phone interferes with it. The Wi-Fi interferes with it if it's a high-powered transmitter. So I'm not a huge fan of 2.4 gigahertz technology right now. Now I know Bluetooth does make a direct connection and it might be fine, even on a congested set. I'm sure it is. But personally, I don't like, there have been times that I've worked with mixers before and they say bump up to medium power or bump up to high power. And I go, okay, boom, done. 3 seconds. As opposed to Absolutely. Pictures up, pictures up. You know, trying to get this all done. And where is the thing? Okay, scroll, scroll, scroll down there. And that seems to me to be way too much work. I have not tested it though. I could have it totally wrong, but I stopped pursuing it because I did not want to disappoint myself. It may perform so much better than the A10. Personally, I like the A10. The only thing I don't like about the A10 is the wire clip and the metal clip it clips onto. Personally, I hate that because anytime you put your boom down gently, it's going to go at a weird angle. I hate that clip mechanism. I wish it was a different clip. And I know Yves Marie Omes. I talked about it in the Sound Speeds podcast. I think it was episode 1 even, about his version of the clip that works on the end of a boom pole. But, you know, I've not used one of those, so I can't speak. I know Chris Harris uses them and loves them. They're, very good as far as he's concerned. I don't like the idea of it sliding around on the pole, though. It clips onto the side of the pole. It's very convenient, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. IATI Rally here in New York City this Sunday. Great networking opportunity for me. Local 52 is the toughest union to get into for sound, what I've heard. I know that at least it used to. I don't know if it still is or not. I know people that are there, that are in 52. I don't know if they are still. I've had a couple people tell me, "Oh, it's not as difficult to get into as it used to be. They're letting more people in." I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if they've closed their books for a certain amount of time and then they've reopened them. I don't know what their status is. I don't keep up with Local 52. Sorry. I got hired to build on Transformers 7, but then realized I told them I wasn't union. Yeah. Sorry about that, dude. It would have been a good thing for you, man. But that is one of the things that if you work for a good, if you work, I'll put it this way. When you work for a union sound person on a union project, they make when you join the union, you make an oath to hire brothers and sisters, union brothers and sisters for union-based jobs especially. And so what probably happened is when you were hired, he said, "Oh, you're not in the union? Oh, can't have that. So if you can't join or won't join something like that, then I'm going to find someone else, someone that is in the union." Because that is actually something that you swear that you'll do. And there have been times that I've worked with people and I've found out that they were non-union. I've gotten pretty frustrated and told them, "You need to join, you need to join, you need to join." Because it's one of those things where you don't realize what the representation actually does. And I do know non-union people, and I do know people that have joined the union and they feel like it hasn't changed anything for them. Well, that's because you already had the contacts. You were obviously working on better shows at that time, and they didn't care that you were non-union. But I'll tell you that if you're going to be in the film industry and be taken seriously, you definitely want to be. If you're going to be at this level, you're going to be getting on union shows, and want to join the union. I thought I was going to miss the stream, but you're still alive. Good evening. Thanks for your thoughts. Hoping to get an A20, not the mini. Hoping for an A20 non-mini that has similar form factor and controls to the A10. I doubt it will. Oh, I should put that comment up. I doubt they actually will do that. I think they're very happy with the form factor on the A20. I think they like the size. I think they like the weight. I think they like the design of it. And I don't think they're going to change it. This is just my opinion, though. Don't let that change yours. And like I said, I have not messed with it. I have not participated with it. I have not tested the battery life myself, but I do know that those two things are things that I shook my head at pretty strong when I heard that the battery life was not 5 to 6 hours, and when I heard that it was menu driven. I was not very pleased. So at that point, I decided to hold, because the last thing in the world I want to do is spend a lot of time and effort trying to get sound devices to break their rule and stretch the rule to send me an A20 just in case I ended up, not liking it. And based on those two things, I decided to hold on it because those two things I just shake my head at. I'm not overly thrilled about that. Battery life is something that all manufacturers are pushing up higher. And so I don't understand, if what I've heard is correct, why they would go on the A10 down to the A20, why they would drop that battery life by like 2 hours, roughly. I mean, maybe a little bit less than that, but I don't know why they would do that. And again, this is all hearsay. Do you think weighted blankets might be an okay substitute for sound blankets? I don't know, man. It depends. I hate saying that, but it does. I definitely think they would be denser, and they would probably, do better in the low end. I don't know if it would affect the high end a whole lot, because really the high end is going to be affected by pretty much anything you do. If you put something, small or whatever, low to it. Now let's get into the next thing from Rycote, because it wasn't just microphones they sent me. Interesting. I think I'm working way too hard to hang. Okay. Now, the second thing they sent me, this they sent to me before the microphones. I wanted to show those first, though, because they are definitely new. Those things are not out. This here is a Nano Shield. And this I was very excited when I heard it announced. So, let's just block camera. This is what I'm going to be looking at. And then, of course, let's take this stuff out. There's this. Okay, it's all over the place because I just dropped it in a very awkward way. Okay, let's lay this out. And there's more in the box. Oh. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, let's start with the handle. It's got a pistol grip, obviously, and it looks like it would connect right up to this part here. Let's adjust this real quick. And this is just a first look, me playing with this and figuring this thing out. Okay. It's got an adjustment. Oh, it's got a little bit of you feel the ridges on that as it's locking. So it's got a little bit of, like, it's got a slight little bitty ridge there. So it does slightly adjust. A little bit of resistance, which is good because I'm not going really, really tight with it. That's nice. And now I just went tighter with it. And now it's barely moving. Okay, cool. Rycote. Oh, look at this. The actual connector itself has a roll-off built onto it. So how would I adjust that? Flip the little switch. Is it in the 80 hertz mode? Oh, wow, look at that. So the actual connector itself has an 80 hertz or flat roll-off on it. That's cool. I wonder what the quality difference would be rolling it off here as opposed to the microphone. The headroom would be different coming out of the microphone, but if you attenuate it here, I wonder what would that do? I don't know. Now it clicked before. Now it clicks there. It doesn't click as loud there. I don't see that as a big issue. I'm going to put it in flat mode right now. It has a Liechtenstein brand connector, and it is angled. It's not, it looks like it would be, oh, it's just not straight, but it actually is designed. I did look at this already. And on the inside there, that is actually angled. I don't think you can see it very well there, but this is actually on an angle. It doesn't go in straight, so it's not off center. You see that? It actually is angled at that angle. Okay. So what I would probably want to do is run it right around there. Okay, so if this was part of the zeppelin and I click it in place, now it's basically connected up as a Rycote quick release. And now I need to pull down here on it. It's a handle with an integrated Rycote tip inside there. So this is a Rycote quick release and a personal connection system, PCS. So pull down on it and it releases instantly. So cool. That's actually very convenient. So you could go on the end of your boom with this, and if you need to pistol grip this thing, go like this and then hand hold it, and it's going to hold just fine. Now, because it's Rycote, you know it's going to be very, very quiet and awesome. So that there we go. Let's drop the handle off of it. Now, let's look up here at the locking mechanism. If you notice, there is a little, let me see if I can hold it in an angle. You can see it. Looks kind of like, there we go. That's probably a little better. Let me go. You can see this? There you go. You can really see it there. The little cross design there. If you twist this off, you can slide these bows up and down. And then with a little bit of a twist, you can lock them in place. So you see it's not moving anymore. But now it's moving again. So if you press it from the bottom, okay, I'm going to crank it all the way down and see what happens. Didn't feel like it's going anywhere. It's definitely locked. Oh, it's moving a little bit, but it takes a lot of torque. So I don't think you need to crank it down that hard. It's not really going to move very much. But you can actually slide this anywhere in there, and it's going to lock based on these over there. So you can slide it up and down from either side. Oh, do I have it locked right now? I sure do. So this, yep, there we go. It slides in and out. So you can dial it in on the exact angle you want it to be. If you want it to be very wide, you can do that and then lock it in place. And then these are not going to move. Well, I didn't lock it in place as well as I thought I did. Let's go harder with it. There you go. It's barely moving when I press it like crazy. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to loosen it. And I'm going to bring them back in. There we go. It's a little hard to move. I probably still haven't dialed in on the tension just yet. Let's see. There's a little clip at the bottom, so it clips onto the very bottom here. Is there a way to adjust that too? Make it more forward or backwards? Doesn't look like it. Okay. The cable, if you have to replace this for in the module for some reason, you would have to, very oddly, I don't know why they did this. This is very weird. I'm going to see if I can put it against my white shirt so you can see that. That's the reason why I wore this white shirt. Right here, where the cable comes out, it goes right up in here. So it basically disappeared out of this for a moment, for about half an inch. I'm wondering if that's because that's where this would slide on. So let's stop playing with that for a second. And yes, I think, let's see. Okay. Okay, first thing I want to know, will this Nano Shield stand up to a Sonella? I'm going to end up testing this, and I'm going to see how it does against wind protection. We know how if you watch my video on testing different microphone wind protections, you're going to see that the Sonella was the king. Rycote did a great job, but Sonella is definitely king. And so I would I'd like to see how these compare too, because it's definitely transparent. When you listen to if you want to hear how transparent something is, acoustically transparent, the best way I have found to do it is by taking it and sticking something like this right over your ear. And you can hear exactly how transparent it is because conversations will sound like it does through here. You're going to hear how the outside world sounds going into this. So one thing I'm wondering about is a little seam right there. If I look at it this way, you can almost, well, you can't really tell it, but it looks like it thins ever so slightly. Now, this is, the nano weave is actually pretty cool. Let me see. It is very lightweight, which I like. Let me answer a couple other questions here. How easy was the roll off? I was concerned that may not move too easily when I heard. Okay. It did not move overly easy for me. Maybe it's just because I haven't done it a few times. No, it doesn't feel like it's losing its tension at all. Honestly, how often are you going to change it? If you just go like this, it's not like, oh my gosh, I got to get my, pliers and do this. It's not like that, but it does take a little bit of hand. If you have a hand cramp or something like that, you might not be able to use that hand on it. We'll see. Anyway, so I'm going to leave that right there. Now, thanks much for the union discussion earlier. I'm in a field that has poorly organized tech, great to listen to and learn. Great. That's the whole purpose of that. I would use ambient quick releases. I would have to switch or not use them. Yes. So, well, okay. So if you use ambient quick releases, here's one trick that you can use. And I talked about this in my video about mounting options for the A10. This would work. If you were to take the A10, personally, I know a lot of people that mount the A10, the plates onto the end of the boom poles. Personally, I don't like that at all. Not just because it's plates all over the end of your boom. It just drives me crazy because if I take that plate, if I take that boom and put it anywhere, it's going to scrape something up, or it can. I don't like doing that. So what I will do instead is I take the A10, I screw a quick release tip onto one side, and on the other side of it, I do the bottom part. The I've referred to it as the nub. One of them is the quick release itself, and the other one is the tip. This would be the tip, and the quick release would be inside the handle. So, because I don't think they would make it where you can change this out and put an ambient on the inside. Wouldn't make any sense either because you'd have to twist it right there, and that would be really awkward. So anyway, you go quickly clip it in there, and if you were to use it with an A10, then what you would end up doing is taking the A10, using the bottom clip on something like this Rycote. Well, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to go A10 off the side. I know that with a boom pole, you could, if you use ambient quick releases, you could use the tip that would plug into your ambient quick release on the bottom of your A10 transmitter, and then on the top use the Rycote, so that way it would go to this if you used just this, and then you could easily switch it out if you wanted to. But then you have the issue of different quick release compatibility. I recently worked on a show with two mixers that had two different quick releases. One was an ambient, one was a Rycote, and it meant having to change out things depending on which microphone I was using, which shock mount I was using. It was a bit on the annoying side, but I was, managing. It just took a few moments. But the lyres have actually been redesigned. They're thinner, if you notice on the side, right there. That's very thin on the inside. And it's thicker down here at the base, and it's almost like a little swing. It's very, very thin, and then it's thicker down at the bottom, right there, if you notice that. So it's very thin on the sides. I don't know. I'll have to test that out and see how good it is. Because I do know, and one of the reasons I left this microphone out was that you can use this particular. I ordered this, had Rycote send me. I wanted to test both of their microphones. And I want to clip. There we go. Clip this in. Now I don't want to just put this interference tube all the way in there. So I'm gonna locate this to the back and then see where it wants to fall. Okay. So let me try mounting this a little bit more back and see how it holds the microphone first up. Okay. And that's not weighted properly. You can see the bows are different. There. Okay, so I would need to take this tension out by backing this up. Is it locked right now? Let's see. No, it's unlocked. Well, you can see that something's not right because it's not aligned correctly. You can see how that's crooked. You can really see it at that angle, which tells me that one of these is twisted more on the top than it is on the bottom. So I will align. I will correct that. The alignment is now coming back. It's now overcorrected. Okay. So now I will slide this up, and now it's holding it a little bit backwards. So I will slide this forward to even it out. Again, there we go. That is perfectly centered. Maybe not. It's perfectly centered. Now it looks... Yeah. Okay. I'll lock that in place. Okay. Now, the Rycote, the top of it right here. Actually, let me get through the questions first. Take my money, Rycote. I think you can remove the Rycote tip and replace it with an ambient one if you want. However, I think the pistol grip will only work with a Rycote PCS. Yeah, I wouldn't really want to change it out. Good morning from Germany, 8 a.m. there, or 7 a.m. there. I know my numbers. Good morning. And then I mean me, not speaking for everybody. Okay. All right. There's the comments. Okay. So here's the way this thing is designed. We have a little slidey part right there, you can see, and it has a slide part on the inside. That actually goes in line with the little connection here at the bottom. So I should be able to slide this on. Oops, let's bring this down. It's sticking up a lot. Okay. So we'll slide that on to the base right there. Let's double check our cable. With that cable, okay, that cable should fit just fine. Sometimes the cables will touch at the bottom. So let me slide this into position, which slides very easily on the bottom, just connects up on that little bitty bottom part right there. I need to lock that more because I didn't lock it very well. All right, so locking it tight. Okay. The cable on the inside, you can't really tell, but the cable that was on the backside here, right there, is not touching the bottom of the shock of the zeppelin on the inside when I slide this on there, which is good. Okay. So that's on there on the back. Okay. Now here's one of the tests I always do. You would ideally want to have, like on your super shields, on your modulars, there's a line that goes around and it goes to the tip that comes onto the end. I usually put that line right there, even with the front end of your microphone. That way, from the end, it is a perfect circle. It is a perfect circle, like through here. So the microphone would be right there. If it's over this way, then it's got a very little amount over there. If it's too much, then it's got so much room and it's going to be microphone too far back. So what I usually try to do is I would line this up for the very first time and say, where would this shock mount actually fit inside? It would fit onto this right about there, this zeppelin. So if you look on the tip here, that's a little off. That's a little bit. I wanted to actually go forward ever so slightly, maybe just a little bit. So I would say maybe I would slide all of this forward by about 1/4 of an inch. Let's say, oops, whoa, that was way overshooting it. So let's do that. Okay. You don't need to be as OC as me. There we go. All right, so that's centered. That needs to come back ever so slightly. Okay, it's mainly the front that I'm going for. Okay, and is it squared this way? Looks like it is. You can really tell right there because it's staying even all the way down. When I hold that, you can see that little gap, that line, it's staying even on the top and the bottom. See that? That's how you can tell. Okay, so now if I were to align this, I keep hitting my keyboard. I hope it doesn't cancel this whole thing out, the whole stream. So if I were to align this to that clip, right where it would go, right about there. That's a good point right there for the end of that microphone. You see that? So now I can slide this on evenly. It's going to stop right where I was expecting it to. And the microphone is going to be approximately, the tip of it would be right about there, maybe in the middle of this thing. So if I were to take the sock part off, which I'm not going to do, then that would work. Now this part off of the rear would slide in. And I probably don't have the muscle memory down to, oh, I'm doing it wrong. There you go. I was trying to connect it up to the wrong place. I was trying to connect it up here as opposed to on the inside. And if I do it the right way, then it goes on amazingly fast. Okay, so now we'll close this. Is it not closed correctly? What's wrong? Am I doing something wrong? No. Let me check it again. Again, it could just be me doing this wrong because I'm not familiar with how it fits in there. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's just that I need to clip it because I know that it has this little slider right there. Slide that into place. And then it's going to lock there. Slide this side into place and it's going to lock there. Did it close up that gap effectively? I think it did. Okay. That is light. Let's try it on the end of this. When I shake crap out of it, I feel the microphone moving. If I shake it really aggressively, which you would never do with a microphone, I do hear it hit the inside of the plastic. So I'm going to definitely have to test this. Now, the Nano Shield comes with different lengths here. So you could actually, if you wanted to use it with a longer microphone, you could remove the back. You could slide this off, get a second one of these. So you have one in the front and one in the rear. And then you could easily slide this on like that. So it's going to be longer off the back and longer off the front, or you could do whatever configuration you want. That's one of the cool things about this particular Nano Shield. Nano Shield is completely modular. So cool. Obviously, if this were on a boom pole and I'm trying to fit it on there real quickly, I could go boom, and this would obviously you would put it onto an actual. I'm not getting that muscle memory down at the end correctly. I need to do this a few times, then I'll be able to get it fast. But then it locks in place. Let me actually look at one thing. I want to look at the seal. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. There is a gasket. There's not a gasket. It's not rubber. It's plastic, but it actually helps bridge that gap. So that way, even if it doesn't look like it's a perfect seal, right there. See that? I'll put it against my shirt. See, right there. You see that little bitty lip? Right, like, which side? It's this side right here. You see it right there? That lip is going to fit on the underside of that part of the windscreen, wind protection. So when I slide this across, now it's going to make even if it doesn't look like it visually seals, it should auditorially seal. Okay, that's straight. Yeah. Cool. I can't wait to try this. Can't wait to try this. It's going to be awesome. Now let's look at what's in this thing. It's a thing. Any more comments? Is that the new Rycote mic that supposedly has 6 dB of cell noise? Yes, a range of 6 to 9 dB. They have not tested it and figured out exactly the range, but I went through the specs earlier and it's listed on the spec sheet that I got as 9 dB, but they're testing it between 6 and 9. They think it's on the lower side, but they're not wanting to overpromise. Hello, greetings in Norway. So thanks for joining us in. It's 10 p.m. in North Hollywood. Why are you still up? Because I have a 3:30 p.m. call time tomorrow. And I have to stay awake. I have to stay awake because if I work an overnight or a deep split like that tomorrow, and then Friday is going to be a 5:30 p.m. call time, then I have to, if I go to work during the day, I can sleep on, 5 hours of sleep, 5, 6, 7. Anywhere in there, I'm probably going to be fine. Now, if I stay up overnight, work overnight, then I need to have a solid 7 to 8. I need that in order to keep my eyes really alert and keep my brain sharp all night. So if I'm doing the deep split tomorrow, what I normally do is say, how much time do I need to get ready in the morning? How much time is my commute going to be at that time? So based on 3:30 p.m. and a reverse commute, if I were to wake up today at 1:30, I get ready and leave out the door. I give myself an hour and a half to get there, roughly. Then at that point, I know that I'm going to be fine. So 1:30 is my wake up time. Now back up 7 to 8 hours. So 12:30, 11:30, 10:30, 9:30, 8:30, 7:30, 6:30, 5:30. So between about 5:30 and 6:30, I'll lay down in bed. Right now it's 1:16 a.m. So what I will do when I finish this stream, and there's 27 people in here right now, is I'm going to let the thing render out on YouTube. And then I'm going to clip just the beginning, like hour and 4 minutes or whatever the part was with Mike Akins, and release that as a separate own video and separate it. So that way, if anybody has any questions about the whole IATSE agreement, then you can dial in on that, because Mike is my business agent in my local. And they have done a great job. They're one of the locals that I can definitely attest to is doing a great job of communicating with its members. And Mike is doing a great job of communicating that personally. And that's why he agreed to come onto the live stream with us tonight. And I'm going to release that as a separate video. And then I'm going to release the Rycote part as a separate video. And then once I basically, you can basically take a video on YouTube and you can chop it up. You can say, make a separate video out of this piece, make a separate video out of this piece. Once those two things completely fully render up, which will probably be tomorrow, then I'll set those to go unlisted. And when they're all ready to go, then what I'll do is I'll remove this live stream that's a big live stream that's currently 2 hours and 47 minutes long, and I will replace it with the Rycote one and the IATSE strike one. So that way it's everything. And the IA33 is standing all together. That's great. So definitely solidarity with the IATSEs. And you missed that stuff, I'll go back and watch. Yes, definitely, because John, it was so awesome. Mike was really amazing with what he presented, and just knows off the top of his head. Anybody who was in the stream, they will tell you it was amazing. The information he brought, he answered every single question just off the top of his head, knew all the answers. Amazing. That's why I wanted Mike here, because I can present information, but not the same as the man that does it as a daily thing. So let's look in this Rycote pill-shaped thing. Hey, does this fit? Hey, now that's well, it won't fit with the end. Sorry, I can't really show it there. With this, I don't think it's going to fit when I fold this in, especially even if I were to remove all the fur and stuff. Let me see. Yeah, not going to fit. That's a missed opportunity. If it could fit that would be perfect. Whole storage. It says Shield Case 40. So I guess it's just designed for you to put not the plastic part here. It's just designed for you to put the part that needs the protection, I guess, in there. You can put it in there. Okay, well that's cool. Let's look at the rest of this real quick. What is in here? And their little Rycote thing. We have some cool toys. Oh, yes. So depending on the microphone you use, there's different tensions. So on the one that came with it, let's unclip this, and we'll take it apart again. Okay. And that's cool. That magnetic? That's magnetic. Look at that. Oh, I see the magnets on the inside. That's going to hold it together. So maybe I didn't secure that properly. Okay, let me look at it real quick. One more time. Go back there because perhaps I didn't slide it on as far as I should. That's on there as far as it'll go. And then maybe it did secure and just when it's, do it the right way, Alan. Where is it? It's right there. Okay. When it's all the way on there. Oh, it does clip off the top and then off the bottom. It's not clipping as much. It's not, the magnets are not enough to overcome the tension required to actually lock it in place. So if this were on a boom pole, it would be a lot easier to secure because I would just put it up there and then I would just go lock, lock, lock. Put it on there, lock, click, and you'd have two hands doing it. So that actually works fairly well. That works pretty cool. Oh, and now I need to get back in there because that's what I was going to show. Scatterbrain much? Okay. All right. Okay. The extra length on that cable, I'm not a fan of. So here's what I'm going to do. This is a trick that I use constantly. I'm going to release the connector, and it's going to be difficult maybe without tension and without the wrong tension. What I'm doing is I'm going to try to do this upside down. I'm going to take this and loop this around and create a very gentle knot in it. And I want it to pull the right way too. So if I were to put that in there, it's going to pull the wrong way. You see how it's going to pull that knot directly into this? So I need to go the other way with it. I'm going to go back out and I'm going to loop this around and loop it around the opposite direction instead. So now, wait a minute, I did that the wrong way again. That way, and then through. Okay, now gently put this in here again. Okay, rotate that into the position I want, the orientation I want. And I think I will dial it in right there. Okay. And then I will lock this in place. So now what you're looking at, and I'll show you this. Now what we're looking at is the cable comes out, does a very gentle loop. It's not going to be aggressive or crazy. It's not going to be too tight. And it's going to hold itself away from that. Actually, it may not be holding itself enough away from it. Looks like it's still going to be rubbing it. What I may have to do is add a rubber band in there to hold it. Maybe connect this up a little bit. I'm figuring this out at the same time as you. So what's going on? Did I tighten it? I thought it was loosening that direction. And it's grabbing that thing tight. I think I was tightening it. Oh yeah, because now it slides the way it's supposed to. Okay, so what I need to do probably is go more towards the end of the connector. And that way it holds itself away. If you look at it against my shirt, this little part right here is going to stay away from the end of the cable now. Okay, so Is it oriented the way I want it to be? Yes, it is. I'll lock that down. And now when I go to slide these on, it should be fine. Now, when I'll take the microphone out. Okay. So that's going to go there. Now, look at the tension here. These are green. You can add more greens. So if you want to add additionals to this, you can slide them on. And we will slide them on by removing this altogether. So why would you want to do this? If you have a heavier... Oh, look at that. And now, oh, look at that. The whole thing is wobbly. I guess it's because it's been so far unscrewed. The whole thing is just wobbly, even to the slightest little touch, it's sliding. Okay, so you can imagine very easily sliding more of these things on and off, just easily coming on, easily going off, and now easily coming back on. Slide on as many as you want. And I guess these are, yeah, those look like they're heavier tension. Because that little, that thick, that part, this part right here is very, very thin on the green one. But on the blue one, it feels like it's thicker. All right, I'll just show it. Let's open them up. The lyre has been redesigned. That's actually pretty cool. So, yeah, that's definitely flimsier because, let me take those words away. It's definitely flimsier because when I press down on this, see how it gives, it wobbles very quickly. This one here, when I press down on it, oops, I press down on it, it doesn't wobble near, well, you can't, it probably looks the same to you, but I definitely feel a tension difference. So the green one is a lot less tension. Now, if you wanted to, you could slide on one of these heavier tension ones. So if you wanted to if you had a stronger, heavier front weighted microphone, you could put one of the heavier tension ones there and then, have one of these in the back. So you could have that as an option. All right, that's really cool. So I just slid that whole entire thing apart and didn't even realize it. So let's put this thing back together. We will slide this in this way. And okay, that's a point to make yourself a note of. When you slide this all the way off, the little cable clip that holds this cable on for your tension, it's going to have to, and the fact that I'm losing a hand by doing this, and then it's going to have to slide on the end. So if you can see that right there. So that way it looks like this on the bottom. If you can tell that. See that? So when you want to slide it all the way off, you can slide it off that. Great. Luckily it's right there. Okay. So I will recapture this. I'm trying to do this 2-camera, which always makes it interesting. And then let's go vertical with it and see if it is any easier to place on there. Okay, so that's now at least clipped in position. Now this means that you can slide the position forward or backwards anywhere on this that you want to. So you can dial it in on exactly where you want it to be for the Nano Shield. And this would be the side that clips in here. Yeah, okay, that's right. I was looking at it for a second because it didn't feel right. It felt like this part here should be at the back, but then if it's in the back, then I would have to slide that part on first. I guess it really doesn't matter. I mean, I have right now the whole arrow look of this point, if you notice. Where is that? Let me see if I can shine it. See that? Look right there? See how it's kind of tapering that way? I'm going to call that the point towards the front. So anyway, I can dial in on exactly where I want it to be, front and back, and then lock it back into position. And it shouldn't move. I don't want to overly... Oh, okay, I can look into that little thing right there. I don't know if you can see that in this light level. There you go. Okay. Look at that. Awesome. And then this here is a little on the loose side, so what I would probably do is loop this around one more time. So that way it's going to actually hold in better. Right now it's so loose. All right, fine. I'll show you what I mean. I know you're like, what are you talking about? Okay, I'm going to loosen this again. And you see how the loop is already going through there? What I'm going to do, and see if I can actually do this to camera. I'm going to have to slide this over this direction and then loop this back through yet again. So without pulling the cable, it's going to be a little on the difficult side. Slide it all the way down to the one end, pull out a little bit of slack, and then take it back through. Okay, so now be gentle with it. You don't want to force it because then it could yank out the end. Now it's going to grab it with two of these little loops on it now. You see that? So now I can put this back in here. It's not pretty just yet. It's not oriented properly. Okay. Bring it all the way down to the bottom. I would want it there. I can dial it in exactly the angle I want. And look at that. That means that when I'm looping it out there and I'm looking at the top of it, I can see my roll off and go clip or clip. Get that. So that means, you see how tight that is now? That loop is not really going to go anywhere. It's now in position, and now I should be able to slide this part over it without it hitting that cable altogether. So there's the front part, or the back part. Well, I'm putting it on backwards, so it is the front part right now. And then I will come in from the other side and do this. Okay. So, and notice the cable is sticking off the bottom, untouched. It's not touching the edge of the shield. And you could actually play with that tension and put the tension more toward the connector end. And that way it's completely staying away from the super shield. Well, not the super shield, the nano shield in now. See that? That's just what I did as a little thing. I'll have to undo that, obviously, for the review. All right, so let's look at the other stuff we have here. I gave you a lot of stuff. I do not know the price point of this just yet, but I think it's really cool that it includes different lyre bows, because the Nano Shield, like if you buy the Super Shield, the bows that stick in there, they're pronged at the bottom, which are not like the lyres that come with the Envision 7 or the Envision 6. It's a different type. It's a prong. You have to, bring the little things in and slide it out. And there's only one tension for it, as I understand it. So you have to be happy with it, or else. And you can only add two. So what is this? Okay, so this here, there's an extra clip for the cable. And then this is this is one of these little doodads. So this is an extra piece that would go on the bottom there. So wait a minute. Oh, that's clever. So this comes with the PCS built into it, which is why it's perfectly square. If I loosen this, I think this is, if you want to completely remove this. No, that part's integrated on there. This looks to me like it would be a replacement for this piece right here, but it has its own little tip. So it looks like that's where you could add the tip to an ambient or, any of them, any of the other quick releases. So does this come all the way off? Oops, there goes the connector. Okay. If I were to take this all the way off, I'm waiting to see how many parts are going to fly out all over the place. Okay, so this part comes off as one. Let me see if I can detach. feels like it's giving a little bit, but I don't want... I don't want to force it. What would this end look like? Okay, it's just smooth all the way around, which means this should just snap out. There goes nothing. No, it's one piece. Is it? This is definitely loose. It's all the way loose. All right, let me just take it all the way out. Add some tension on the inside. Yep, okay, it's releasing. Look at that. Okay, so add more tension and slide the piece out. Come on now, get out of there. See, it's sliding out. It's definitely sliding out, but it had too much tension on it. So we'll take it all the way to the other end. And it's being held on by quite a bit of tension, it looks like. There's probably a more eloquent way of doing this that I just don't know, because occasionally I get things wrong. Like when I did the ambient quick review boom pole, I didn't realize that it actually has the tip of it. You have to take an Allen key to it to release it. And I didn't realize that. And then I took the pole and showed one of my friends who's a boom operator. He's like, "Oh yeah, see right here, you're just supposed to unlock it." I'm like, "Yep, that's sure what you do." There's got to be something. There's got to be a better way to do this, because I'm not... Are you supposed to just twist it and rotate it down? Maybe that's it. Okay, yeah, that's working. Just twist it. Okay. So this is now completely disassembled, this little thing right there, which is... It looks symmetrical. So you could easily, well, I won't say easily, but you can swap this part out here for a different one if you don't want to use the XLR tip that it comes with. So you can do that. My video, that's probably going to have to be B-roll, because I don't think I'd be able to twist this thing around over and over again for the video. Oh, that's so much easier. You just twist it and start rotating it down. Oh, geez. Why do I make it so difficult at the beginning? Oh, that's so much easier. You just twist it and it comes down and then you pull it out. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. Maybe it's just loosened up a little bit, but I'm rotating it around. Okay, cool. So that's great. And then we will put this back through here. Oops, it was in the other end, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. That's upside down. I would want that to be the other way. Maybe I wouldn't. It's technically symmetrical, but there is little circles right there, if you can see them. There you go. You can see the little right there, but those circles are not on the top part. So that would be the part I'm looking at the bottom. That would be the top part. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave them. So let's go back in here. And then we have this part here, which three little pieces. And to apply tension, I'll line it up, and then it should pull in and allow me to slide it in position at some point. I'll go loose for it. And then I'll slide that in position first. Not be a moron. Oh, looks like it's almost... It is moron proof. It goes on either way. Okay, good. So it'll make it easier for me. So that's going to go on there. And this is going to slide in on the back. That's great. That's, well, so So it's not entirely moron-proof. Don't take this thing off. Unless, I mean, obviously, if you're setting it up, you're going to set it up, but brilliant. Okay. Stay. There we go. Okay. So now, what did I do wrong? The fact that I didn't put the ring in the middle. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. This is supposed to grab something. Wow. There's 22 people still watching me futz around with this thing. There we go. On my Discord channel, we have an area for memeing me. So this is probably hopping right now. Okay. Let's see. Is that the right way before I commit? Yes. Okay. That's in position. That's gonna tighten up. All righty. I like that that's square again. So it's in alignment. You can see it against my shirt. It sticks out correctly. And then this connector. Yes, we'll pull it in that way and lock it in position at that angle right there. That will make me happy. That's the angle I would want. We'll lock this in position. Nice and tight. Okay, now I will align the cable to be the exact way I want it to be. With the exact tension, the exact way and position. Okay. So now I don't think that's going to move anywhere. Yeah. So it's not bad when you disassemble it and put it back together, especially if you know what you're doing. So after I did that once or twice, now it seems to make more sense. Well, that's cool. Okay, so that piece goes back in there too. So you can use the Nano Shield with your own quick release if you don't want to use the PCS. All right, let's check. Let's play catch up on some. It's great. Even as someone in a union, a totally diff field, I got a lot of use out of it. Even as someone in a union in a totally different field. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, so much great info. Okay, I do live television, and we're not part of the voting, but I'm ready to pick it with y'all. That's great. Thanks, Blair. Good evening. Sadly, I missed the IATSE Q&A. Okay, but you know what, Matthew? It's going to be back on later. Sorry, this comment was from over 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry. All right, got a call tonight. I think I got what I needed to from the Nano Shield. Probably going with the Snell because I use ambient quick release, and I'm not playing a swap game. You know what? Dan, I hope you come back and finish this video. You'll see that when I stop fiddling around with this. I bought a Nano Shield 4 dB kit from Pink Noise. It cost 450 pounds on there. Awesome. Here, the Nano Shields are 540 pounds, including VAT, 450 excluding VAT. So $90 VAT, or 90 pounds VAT. I'm just owning this product vicariously. Through you while I'm waiting for it to arrive. Haha. Okay. Do you know whether the Rycote will release the pistol grip separately? It seems like it would be useful going to record sound effects and ambience. You know, I do not know. That is a great question, though, and I do not have the answer. Let me go through the rest of this stuff, though. It looks like it comes with a HWC, its own version of a high wind cover. Oh. So you would have to add this to each side separately. Well, let's try that. Let me get some water, man. I've been talking for so long. Take care, Matthew. Okay. So I'm going to be holding this up so it'll be more awkward. But let's try putting the sock on. So a high wind cover adds a little bit of additional wind protection. Okay. Oh, I'm probably not putting that sock on right. It'd be like the equivalent of putting it sideways on your foot. It's going to feel really awkward. So that's the way you're going to want it to go. And because this is definitely wider, you want it to go on that way. So I'm going to put this against me. I'm going to roll it up a little bit on the sides to give myself some leverage. And put... Okay, so it's probably... Oh, the whole thing bowed. That's right. It does have the ability to move. So just slide in position. So if you crush on the sides of it, I mean, this whole thing moves. So that's what happens. It crushed in on me. I'm like, oh no, but it's fine. It's designed to. So there's a little bit of, and it's tight. And not tight like, whoa, dude, that's tight. It's a tight squeeze. It's a tight fit. And I'm having to kind of wrestle it. That's probably the wrong word. Into position. So if you want to use the regular Nano Shield and then add the HWC, what if the dead cat's going to be the same way? I hope I'm not going in circles with this thing. No. Coming near the end of it. Okay. So now it's all the way on there. It is coming off the other end. So I'm pulling it off of one end in order to secure it on the other. Let me try over pulling it a little bit. So, oops, let's get rid of that. Okay. To think about that one. It's on there. It's off on there nice and tight. Let's see how easy it is to go on the other side. Okay, so that's the way it's going to want to go. And you know what? I'm going to try to do this to camera again. Oh, come on now, please. It's bowing it on the sides again. It's not cooperating very well. This is very tight. Maybe if I rolled it down, maybe that's the ticket. Roll it down like if you have a bunch of Neosporin on your legs. Sure, you've watched videos and you've seen my legs. You'll notice there's a lot of bite marks on that. A lot of those came from Walking Dead and then me scratching the things until it made a scar. And it's going to be with me forevermore, making me have the most pretty legs here in the South. Okay, let's try this. See if this is going to be any better. I know this is very tight at this point. But if I can get it going, maybe... this is not... Oh, maybe I can compress the whole thing in. Maybe if I compress the Nano Shield in, it's going to... I'm going to force this thing in at an awkward angle. I'll be honest with you. That's difficult. Okay. Are you sure it's supposed to put on the outside of the sock that's already there and not replace it? Yes. Doesn't look like this actually pulls off. This is actually folded over, and it looks like it's sewn in position down here on the base of this. So if I were to pull this off, yeah, it's actually held in right there with this little piece. It's like held in. So if I pulled this off, I don't think there'd be any way to get back on there. Plus a high wind cover. Yeah, I'd turn it inside out and roll it on. I just tried that. Oh, I see what you mean. Turn it inside out and roll it on. Maybe. Let's try that. And maybe it's also a problem with me putting it against myself. Okay, so let's do your idea. You might be onto it right there, Cam. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay. Maybe just getting it going that way was the ticket. It's still it's probably not that much different than it was when I first put it on there. Wonder if I can already tell I'm gonna have to watch a movie some night and do this over and over again to see if I could figure out a very quick and effective way for this to go on and off. Try different methods. I'll have to go and look up different ways of putting on tight compression socks or something. Because this is difficult. Cam, let me try that. Helps that I have big feet, so I'm used to socks not fitting. So let's see. Instead of rolling it, let me try. I think this might be a little bit more along the lines of what you were talking about. So a sock would kind of go on like that. And then maybe if I can get that on the tip like that, maybe stick that in here. There are 20 people in here watching me play with a Nano Shield. So maybe that's the ticket right there. Just stick the curve part, the amount that matches the tip part, like where I would put a shock, the end of the microphone right there. Maybe that's it. Get just enough of that, wrap it around, because at that point, oops, let me see. Let me see. Okay, I know it's off camera. Oh, come on now. If I can get just enough of that on there, just to get it over the difficult part, straighten that up. Then I think if I got it over the end of the foot, like Cam suggested, I think maybe let's try this. Oh, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Is it working? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? It's bouncing off of my chest like crazy. Stop it. Come on. Man, this is difficult. Especially with how it's so light, so this is very flimsy. Sam Jacobs. Okay. Rycote have a video about how to replace the nano sock or whatever they called it. Well, I'll have to definitely do that before, or watch that one definitely before I release my review, because this is, no one is going to want to do. Maybe if I fold it over. Ooh, let's do that. Fold this over this way. And then maybe, okay. Now it's kind of folded in on itself. Maybe if I can pull it out now. I'm going to have to watch that video, Sam. Thank goodness for YouTube. Ow, that sucked. All right. Well, it's not tight on there by any means. At least it's better than it was, but that's not going to work very effectively. Maybe, hey, wonder if you can do that. Put your whole hand into it. Pull against your hand. Oh, maybe that's the way to do it. Put your hand in the thing. Look at that. That works. phenomenally well. I'm at least able to pull it. I may be wearing out the end of the Nano Shield, but that right there may be the ticket on how to pull this thing on and off. It doesn't seem like it's working overly great. Oh, come on now. Use the force. Okay. What is your suggestion? You could try sticking your hand on the inside. Yes, it's funny. Cam, you suggested the exact same thing kind of as I discovered it, I think. Yeah, I think I didn't see your comment, but I think I discovered that, right? You must have sent it to me mentally. I should give you credit for it because you probably posted that before I discovered it on screen, or you were at least typing it before I did. So I'll give you a thumbs up to that. All right. Yeah, look at that. Okay, still, it's not something you can do fast. So you're gonna have to spend a little bit of time, making that work because that's annoying as crap. But at least now, oops, there we go. At least now it's on, so it's clipped in place. It's not going anywhere. Great minds think alike. Well, I won't claim to have as great of a mind as you because you came up with it before I did. And you're up just as late as I am. Right now it's 2 a.m. 3 hours and 25-minute live stream. Okay, so now the HWC is on there. For the love of God, tell me this zeppelin. Tell me. Maybe they just need to make this a little bit looser. That was very tight. I mean, that's like you're trying to stretch out. Please be one piece. Please be one piece and not two. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this gift. Okay. Okay. So I know it's not in there, but you would stick your zeppelin in there if it had the pistol grip and everything on there. You'd stick this in there. This with a high wind cover on there would probably resist quite a bit of noise or quite a bit of wind. Noise. This is going to be probably about as acoustically transparent as you could get because this has all of Rycote's technology built into it. So it will tighten up and then tuck you in. I've seen people go over the outside of it. Let's do that. Tuck you in. All right, fine. I will. It has the little note, tuck me in. And I think I pulled it right there. We'll tuck you in. That way you're in the aft part of the microphone. So now it's my little furry thing. And then we can comb it and brush it and make it all pretty. This sounds like something I could do with my daughters. Tell my daughters that you need to comb all of these, I have to name them. If I name them, I can get my 6-year-old to take care of this thing for me, groom it. Hey, hey, honey, could you do me a favor? You want to groom call it Felicity or Felicia. Give it a pretty name. I might even let her name it. That way she'll really dial in on it. Same issue you normally run into with these things. A lot of the hair pulls off. That's to be expected. One of the little things that I always do is to prevent a mess, turn it inside out. It also helps if it gets any moisture on it too. So that will keep the fur more on the inside. And that way if it gets any moisture on it or anything like that, that at least keeps a little bit better. So it gets less fur all over everything. Okay. All right. Oh, let's add the brush with the fur. Okay. So that HWC, I wish it was a little bit looser because I'm not a fan of that, how tight that is. Why can't it just go on as quick as it's going to go off? I'm going to have to get all of the fur off of this thing. Now it's inside out. I have to run some tape over it. Okay, I'll let my daughter name it Captain Jack. I'll let my daughter name it, and that way maybe she'll want to groom it. Okay, Cam, I'm going to try it from the get-go, from the very beginning. You know what? I might actually take this to the next level first and stretch it out. I know I haven't even started my review yet, and I'm going to already start. Just adding a little bit. See if I can get it to loosen just a wee bit, not a whole lot. A lot. Maybe see if it's like the equivalent of stretching out a shirt, if it will hold itself and then suck itself back in. Okay, so let's try getting this pulled over the end, and then I'll add my hand. So once it's on there, okay, this side is going on a lot better, a lot quicker. You gotta name your dead cats. Bad luck to have a nameless dead cat. I'll have to remember that. Okay, so that side went on a lot quicker and easier. It's not all the way on there, but then as soon as I pull this little ripple up and over the edge, it will be. Okay, I'll call that one on. Now, the difficult one. First of all, let's stretch this out just a wee bit. Okay. Yes, that's what I'll do. I will take the end of this and I will stick this in just a wee bit. That way I can get it going over the end. Oops, which end was it? Okay, so I'll take the end of this. It's kind of hard to see. Let's do it this way so it's my shirt. And now push that part in just so maybe a couple inches in. Then I'm going to place this over the end of the Nano Shield right there. Pull that down so it's at the very, very end. I'm going to have to do this as a time lapse in the video. It would just, I'll take forever doing it. Okay. And now, yes, it seems so much more effective. So maybe you could probably get this whole process down into maybe 2 minutes. It's curled inwards on itself right now. It's still annoying as crap. Wish it was a little looser. Because yeah, that would, the whole purpose of having a quick release, for example, is so that you can quickly slide something on and off. And if you need to add wind protection between takes, HWC is not going to be a very quick and effective solution if you're in between takes. Because you'd have to completely take this one side off, fight it on there, probably about halfway through getting one of them on, you'd have to Pictures up. Well, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second for sound. I don't want to have to say that. Okay, that was, I don't know, somebody probably on YouTube watch the go back and time it from the beginning of when I started putting the thing on there to the end. Write it in the comments. Say that. If it was a little bit looser, I think I like the HWC far better. But right now it is so tight. But that's probably that tightness to it is what makes it thin enough to be acoustically transparent. So I'm rationalizing it myself. If it were looser, the fabric wouldn't be stretched as thin, it would fatten back up. It won't be as easy. That's probably why. Okay, at least using the cam technique seemed to work best. And I'm going to have to, in their video, they put that black sock on a bare Nano Shield cage. Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask Sam. I'll put that up on the screen. But you see, the thing is, though, on a regular Zeppelin, you have this part here, and then you add that high wind cover to it to add an additional layer to it. So this seems to me that if you were to just add this over the outside, it didn't seem like it would add a whole lot more. It didn't seem like it would add a whole lot more by itself. I'm seeing something. Okay. There's a little hook. Okay. And this is, it looks like this might be the ticket then. All right, there you go. I wonder if that's not an HWC then. I wonder if that is, I'm going to have to check it out. You're onto something, Sam. Okay. Oh yeah, I bet it'd slide over that a lot better. But this here, maybe it's just a color option that's different because this feels the same. It's the same material. This one's less, it got less, dark colored hair on it. Yeah, I think it's just two different color options. I don't think that's a high wind cover after all. Okay, so that's original. All right, so let's try putting this on. Hello, Philip. Hello from Germany. Hello, Philip. This feels like it's a lot looser than this. See how much tighter this is? My whole hand goes in here. It's very loose. See that? And this one here, it's very tight. It's like let's try the tighter one over here. Still it slides so much easier. Like that. I don't even have to use the cam technique, but I'm going to because I like it. So once you pull this all the way up and over, again, not something you could switch out with the other one very quickly if you wanted to. But so I'm basically swapping this from its standard gray color to black. And then this ridge, I just make sure that it's sticking up around there. Okay, and then this little thing, we'll take it around and we'll slide it, making sure it's grabbing the entire thing. Is it pulling the wrong way? Yeah, I think it might be. Okay, so let's try it this way. Come on now. Maybe the gray layer is the HWC. You're right, because it's looser. That may be the ticket right there. I'm gonna have to definitely reach out and ask him about that. You know, Rycote may be watching this video. I mean, it's still going live, and if they happen to actually have anybody working there that Hi, Alan. You committed today. It's 4:10 a.m. here in sunny New South Wales, Australia. You did a lot of great stuff on your channel. Thank you. Thank you very much. But you know what? It's all good. It's all about sharing information and knowledge and everything else. I get a chance to talk to a bunch of cool people and learn a lot of really cool techniques. And then I basically turn around and share them on the channel. I learn a lot of things and say, oh, my audience will love this. Okay, so that's hooked. So now just slide this into position because that is sticking down. You see that? Can you even see it? It's sticking down lower. It's not jamming up in the end. So let's slide that upwards into position. I think it's just looser because it's been sitting in the cage, getting stretched ever since it came off the assembly line. Yeah, that's quite a possibility too. I don't know if it has documentation. I'll have to look and see if it says high wind cover in there. Because if it does, then I mean, it looks to me more like it's just a black option than an actual high wind cover. Because a high wind cover is more like a sock. It's denser, but I could be mistaken. It's hot pink morph sock. No, let's not do that. Okay, so now this little thing is on there. It's not, it's grabbing enough. It's grabbing those little hook things, which is fine. It's holding on to it all the way around. It's not releasing anywhere. Okay, so let's do the same operation on this side too. So that way we have a black zeppelin. Okay, that's the way it should be. So we'll do the same little thing here. Pop the little bit right there. Take this around. Remove the sock. Okay. Oh, is that inside out? That's inside out. That's the right way. Okay. I'm starting to drag. I'm getting tired. I'm approaching the awake for or woken up for 24 hours thing. Gotta be up though. Gotta be up. not just for the live stream, but because I gotta go to sleep in order to get a good 7 to 8 hours for my split tomorrow. If I go to bed too early, it's gonna be difficult for me to get back to bed later. So I gotta go to. I know my body better than anyone else does. So basically, what I need to do is I know how I need to get adequate sleep for me. If I stay up late and then I get myself overly exhausted and then I go to sleep, then I'll be fine. Okay, so pulling this through the little gap. Good, I did it on that side too. Okay, so that makes sense then. Pulling it through the little gap and then just pushing up there finger tight on everything else. Making sure it's in there. So now we have a black zeppelin. As soon as I add the little clip thing to the bottom, which is add the little tension over here, the little hook. Oh, I don't want to break it. I'm going to loosen it. Okay. Clip it in position, then slide everything up. So we'll clip that in position right there. Once it's hooked, route this around. And then stretch and clip. Okay, so now slide that little piece into position so that it grabs and holds the ridge. Can't really see it very well. Sorry, it's so underexposed on video. One of these days I'll get a better camera for live streaming, as opposed to this Logitech C920. I mean, it's holding it. It's not gonna. I don't think it's ever gonna push all the way into that little ridge. I don't even think the ridge goes all the way around, does it? Yeah, it almost looks like it does. I'll do my best. It's not going anywhere. It's not sliding out. And that little hook is holding it in position, so that's fine. I'm curious. With this, how would this slide on? It's a high wind cover. Oh, so much easier. Look at that. I'm going to have to look and see if this is just a different color option or if this is actually, if it was supposed to be an extra added layer. I'll have to look it up. Okay. What? Let's see. All right, let me look through the questions here. Okay, so last thing. All right. When socks are for color only, yes. So each color has different properties. I don't think so. It might just be like I think, was it Cam that said? No, it's all right. So San Jacob said that it may just be stretched, maybe stretchier because it was actually over the Zeppelin and the assembly line. All right, so does Sinella have that convention of front being slightly lighter gray? Maybe it's supposed to be used for something similar since it is such a modular system. What? Of the front being a slightly lighter gray. Not to my knowledge, not that I can recall. Okay. Took a short nap to turn the stream. Ellen, it's Thursday, 23rd September here already behind. Yeah, it's I'm here. I'm here on Thursday, the 23rd of September with you. They already have chroma green and blue covers. Well, that'd make a hell of a lot of sense. Okay, you're not holding your tongue right. That's why it's so hard to do. Oh, was I doing something with my tongue, or was I supposed to do something like this and make a face, and that's supposed to, I don't know. You can actually see the weave design. Look at that. You can actually see it over the sock. You can see the Nano Shield. That's actually pretty fun. That's pretty cool. It was stretched over it so much that it's actually making it. Okay, that's cool. Let me see this little Rycote DB. So maybe that's dark black, dark. I don't know. No, because this says DB on it also. Advanced fur technology, 100% synthetic. Good. So that means nobody's going to be throwing paint on my zeppelin. Short hair, classic. Denser than the standard windjammer fur. All right, short hair. The short variant used for discrete profile is used. To remain out of camera shot. Okay. And then classic, shorter fur used on Rycote. Classic softies, denser than standard windjammer fur. And then the windjammer, long pile fur, designed for use over a basket system for maximum wind noise attenuation. Gray cover is cotton, black is wool. They felt the same to me. Are they different materials? Or are you just guessing, Greg? Better transparency, but not washable. Okay. That's weird. They felt the same to me. It shows what I know, I guess. They felt the same to me, though. I mean, my hands must be totally off. Okay. Let's add this stuff back into this bag. Just some first impressions. What are your thoughts of the Nano so far compared to other options you've heard used? Well, it's quick on and off. It's got a lot of good innovation to it. I seem to remember when I was actually talking to my contact at Rycote that I seem to remember he told me that there was a learning curve, or there was something that took a little bit longer for the high wind cover. So now I really am wondering if it's just because it's 2:30 in the morning here, my brain is fizzing, or not. But I obviously have to listen to it to see how good it is at actually attenuating wind without coloring the sound. Who sent me a message 3 hours ago? Oh, I'll have to reply to that later because the issue is resolved. All right, so we'll add this back in here. I will add this back in here. And you are now closed up. Still wish this was slightly bigger so that I could stick the whole thing in there with the Nano Shield. Maybe. 1 second. No, that's not going to fit. It was worth a try. Let's see if maybe it would actually slide in there. But no, that's not going to work. Okay. But it should go on there and then go on there. I need to develop the muscle memory to find the right place. There it is. Right there. Whoops. Crush on the front. And then aligned, slide in position, aligned, and slide in position. I'm not sure about the fact that it's oval shape. Because if you have windscreen in the middle, it's going to have more protection on the sides than it will the top and bottom. See, like if it's pointed straight down the barrel. I would think it would need to be more round, but then I'm not 100% sure. If it works, right? So I have to test it. And I'm not going to be able to test it deep enough to be able to see if it was actually a circle. Would it have better transparency or whatever? Got a whiff of something. My nose is not very effective, so if I smell something, it's usually an indicator of it's not that. Okay. All righty. Still, gray cover is cotton, black is wool. Raycom TV interviewed Rycote on the Nano. He breaks down all the cover pieces. Okay, Raycom TV. Let me add that. Raycom TV. May want to do that just to see. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, he got his first. Okay. Let's see. Interview Rycote on the Nano. It breaks it down in color. Okay. I'll check it out. Don't know if you've already mentioned it, but they made it oval to reduce resonance, which I think is a pretty cool level of attenuation and detail. To reduce resonance. Made it oval to reduce resonance. Resonance where? I'm gonna have to take a new fresh look at it when my brain's fully functioning. 'Cause right now I'm dragging. Hmm. Standing waves depending on the diameter. A standard pill shape produces a resonance based on the diameter of the tube. Standing waves, but it technically shouldn't have any standing waves on the inside because it's acoustically transparent. This has a different diameter at every angle, so the resonance will be spread of much wider set of frequencies. Still, it's so hard to imagine. Maybe it's just, again, because I'm tired, but it's hard to imagine it making that big of a difference. There's a different diameter at every angle. So, wait a minute. Yeah. Standing waves from the frame reflections. It looks slightly bigger at the back than it does in the front. I'll have to measure that with the thing. Hmm. It's hard to imagine it making that much of a difference. I mean, I guess there's I'm sure there's a reason to it if they did that. Wow, that's amazing. Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we have tested what we said we were going to. First looked at the Rycote products, and now I have to do a little bit of homework. Not going to let it change my mind or affect my mind or anything like that. But you definitely had me wondering, though. I'm looking at the. It's about how Mike sits in the basket along the axis, hence look at from a cross section view. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just because my brain is like failing me. I'm having a hard time visualizing that making a difference. It's how the mic sits in the basket along the axis. Let's look at it from a cross section view. Yeah, I can't even process that right now. Hmm. All right. Well, I think I will call it there because I'm way slowing down. My brain is like frying out. So I probably should. Oh, yeah. It's good to see what they're taking into account. Yeah, I'm sure they're testing it in the most detailed and precise ways. This is Ryco we're talking about. They do stellar work. So yeah, dialing that last little percentage or two out, it's gonna definitely probably be the most difficult of the whole thing. Because if you get it, if you can probably do it and make it more or less acoustically transparent. But to get it where it doesn't affect the acoustics also, because that would basically be the equivalent of having weird vents on the side of a shotgun microphone. Oh man, it would affect like you said the way that the waves go around. But still, I mean, it's still amazing to imagine it making that much of a difference. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that can hear it. I don't think I could. You said, "Tell me which one, tell me which of the one of these is made acoustically right." I'd be like, two." I don't think I could hear the difference. Maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe catch me when I'm all zip fizzed up. I might be able to figure it out. Same thing I've done in racing is 2% here, and there's 2% really adds up. Yeah, yeah, quite possible. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it there for the night. I am lagging like crazy. I can expect the Rycote video to go up separately in a separate video. That's probably about 3 hours long, the first look, and then have the IATSE video go up separately into its own video too, just for fun. That way that they're both equally searchable, and that way you don't have to go through the whole Rycote thing if you're looking to get some IATSE information. I wonder how small diameter affects the wind reduction compared to a larger diameter blimps. It's that I can't actually answer. The the more air you have around a microphone, usually that's standing air, the better it's going to be for wind resistance. So if you have a smaller diameter, wind's going to get through it and affect your microphone because it's going to create little winds in there. If it's a bigger diameter, like something like a cyclone, then it's going to take more. Once it gets through there, it's going to slow down and then slow down more and more and more. So thank you. Have a great night. See you, Alan. Great stream as always. 99, Alan. Thank you very much. So we have a group that actually came back. So we have approximately 18 people in here right now. Thank you very much for showing up, everybody. I'm calling it there. You take care. Good night.